All right. Hello. We're back.
We're
It's not really
back
the meats, but we're just back for more shit.
for
Okay.
more of our little tangents for you to
More of
enjoy.
us.
This
Hello.
shoot the shit episode.
Yes. So we're going to talk about, because it is our birthday season, it's Pisces season, it's our solar return season. So we're going to look at some solar return charts. And as promised from our last Shoot the Shit episode, we're going to look at Shelby and I's synastry.
Yes, I'm so excited. I don't know why it's taken us 4 seasons to do this.
I know, it's like we've never looked at our own friendship, our own relationship.
Look at
It's like
us.
couples therapy. Here we are. Couples astro counseling. Here we
Yes,
are.
exactly.
So, where should we start? Do you want to start with our synastry? Do you want to start with solar return things? How are
Let's
you
start with our
feeling?
synastry.
Okay.
Let's talk about that, and then that'll kind of give me some insight into what to look for in my solar return chart, maybe. Like, I don't know how the podcast is going to go based on how our
You'll know how things are
synastry.
going to flow. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds
Exactly.
good. So, okay. So, I pulled out. So, we talk about synastry.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime we're talking about chart comparisons or anytime you're really looking at aspects in general, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
The rule of thumb is you're going to start with conjunctions and oppositions
Mm-hmm.
because those are the strongest aspects.
Right.
Then you're going to go to squares. So I know we all want to go to the positive next. We all want to go to those trines and those sextiles and talk about the easy flowing energy.
No,
Talk
let's
about
give us the hard
harmony.
stuff.
It's like, nope, the next thing we look at is squares.
Well, and we're Pisces, so of course we don't have a problem with that. We can address the hard shit,
we can address the hard things. We avoid them in general, but we can talk about it in theory.
Yeah, exactly.
So, here we are. So so we know as we're talking about these things, if we don't get too much into trines and sextiles, is because we have to talk about the strongest energy, and then you can talk about those more minor kind of aspects that help these other things along.
Yes.
So the first thing we have, as you all know, Shelby and I are both Pisces.
Of course.
But as we also know, all of our signs have, various decans and things like that. Even Shelby and I are also in the same decan.
Hey.
But we have different degrees. And so there are different makeups that we all have that kind of affects how our relationships flow together. So our first aspect is that we have a sun, Shelby's sun, conjunct my moon.
Ooh.
So Shelby's sun is 21 degrees Pisces, and my moon is 20 degrees Pisces.
Oh, right there together.
Right there together, yes. So this is one of the traditional soulmate placements.
Soulmates?
Yes.
Oh my God, look at us. Okay. It tracks.
So we were always meant to be friends, Shelby.
Always. We had to have that shitty job together. It was meant to be.
Oh, Jesus, karma, okay?
Ooh, for real.
We had to go through that to get here. And look at us having a whole podcast.
Can you believe?
It all came from that. I'm telling you.
Do you think everybody else that we worked with at that job is like, they went on to do some very weird shit together? That's probably what they're thinking.
Some of our colleagues from that place, went into practice together, as far as therapy practice, whatever. Shelby and I went to do an astrology podcast
together. And you know what? It's working out great for us, actually.
And it's going well. So, I think we made out the best, honestly. But
I agree.
So, let's talk about this sun conjunct moon, okay?
Okay.
So, this is going to create a very good foundation for any relationship, right? So both people are able to understand and relate to each other. And the sun person tends to be more active, while the moon person tends to play more of a supportive role in the sun person's activities and goals. And so this pair also doesn't feel as much that they need to communicate their feelings as they usually can sense what the other is thinking and feeling. This is like what Ramon wanted, right?
Yes.
He wanted a sun conjunct moon situation.
No, I would say I think both of us do a really good job with communicating our feelings.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I do think that we're good at picking up on like, oh, like there's been times where I've been like, she's tired today. I'm just like, are you okay, friend? Like,
Girl,
and part of that is us communicating with each other, but parts of that are just like you sense the energy.
You can feel, you can feel when energy is different. And, it's like we have, again, that sun conjunct moon, but also the fact that the sun conjunct moon is in the sign of Pisces.
Yes.
And so we have that very intuitive energy.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Just to know, all sun conjunct moon don't conjunct the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So you might not have as much intuition as far as, as we do, because, it's the Pisces, it's a little psychic, right?
Yeah.
So we feel things, we sense things with each other. And so there's some things that we don't necessarily always have to say. Though, again, we do say, we do communicate very well.
I would say so.
Yeah. But so I was like, that's, a beautiful start to that chart, right? So then we have Shelby's moon, which is 17 degrees of Gemini. Is square my moon at 20 degrees of Pisces again. So we've got the sun conjunct moon, really nice.
It's lovely.
We got a little square on the moon side.
Interesting. Okay.
So what this means is our emotional needs may clash and maybe create a sense of disharmony, or that we may be operating at different wavelengths when it comes to seeking emotional security. And so our responses to emotions may differ. So, and that's not, again, squares aren't always like doom and gloom, but it may show you some areas where those, those kind of differences may like rub up against each other, just, like it might create a little friction, like, okay.
It's just something to be
differently than I would to this.
Yeah, definitely. It's something to be aware of. And I think that makes for interesting podcasting.
Absolutely. But I think also where, again, those work together is because you have that moon aspect, but then you also have that sun and moon conjunct aspect. It helps us like intuit a little better, like where some people might not sense those areas. We like sense that and like, hey, you might check in or you might, do something and just like, what's going on? Or, where other people are like, well, she acting like this, you might internalize it more, but not actually communicate through it. I don't know.
Right.
I think they kind of work together. They help each other. And this is how, when you look at all of the things together, you see how it all works, right?
Pieces of a puzzle, right?
Yeah. So it's like, we don't single out any aspects, unless it's a major red flag.
Look at the whole picture. Yeah. Unless,
one of them red flags, like, it might be enough, but look at the rest of it, but it might be enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a lot of moon aspects here. So Shelby's moon at 17 degrees Gemini is opposite my Uranus at 17 degrees of Sagittarius. So, right. So, okay, we got a little outer aspect, inner aspect happening here. So what this means is the moon person is in opposition to the Uranus person. Your ideas about freedom and unconventional approach to relationships may conflict with their concepts of what your partnership should be like. Now, this kind of talks a little bit like, it kind of speaks in a little romantic terms. So, but you can still piece that with like what a friendship partnership looks like.
Sure.
So these people can benefit from taking a balanced approach, which serves your mutual needs with the best you both have to offer. So just a little moon Uranus, that Uranus thing that's kind of more generational. So you just have a difference in that space.
That makes sense though.
Yeah. Because I'm a little old. Shelby often forgets, which I love.
I forget.
She forgets that I'm old as hell. But
you're not old as hell. No, but it really does feel like we're on the same wavelength generationally most of the time. So, there's occasional references that I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, or
didn't
vice
make
versa.
that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. It's bound to happen.
Like, I missed that one. I missed
Keep
it.
it interesting, you know?
SpongeBob. I'm like, it was there, but I wasn't there.
I literally almost made a SpongeBob reference earlier in this podcast, and then I was like, she's not going to get it. Stop doing that. She's not going to get it.
Like, if it's like a really general one that like everyone knows, it's like I could get those, but like the very specific, like you had to be a watcher.
It played in my mind on repeat. Like, yeah, sorry. I stopped myself.
I didn't catch those, but I love it.
That's okay.
It's one of those things. Okay, so here I am with my scrolling issues again. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our next aspect is my Mars. Okay, 3 degrees of Taurus is trying. Okay, I went out of order, but we're gonna go here.
That's okay.
Trying Shelby's Jupiter at 8 degrees of Virgo. So trines are 120 degrees, and they typically are going to be same sign. Now, sometimes, when you have those degrees that are kind of close to the edge, you might trine something that's in a different, elements. I meant to say element.
Oh, okay.
You might trine in a different elements, but if you're kind of in these spaces, like Taurus, Virgo. So we're in the same element. So that's, harmonious, right?
Okay. So, look at us.
Yes. This is going to bring harmonious and invigorating energy to the relationship. Both individuals are going to feel a sense of encouragement and support from each other, allowing them to pursue new opportunities and expand their horizons. Yes, right? Yeah.
I'd say that's very true so far for us. Yeah.
Right. The dynamism and assertiveness of Mars are appreciated by the Jupiter person. So Jupiter being Shelby, with Mars being me, who sees the potential for growth and success in the relationship. Together, you feel unstoppable and confident in facing any challenges that come your way. The combination of Mars and Jupiter creates a fortunate and lucky energy, enhancing your ability to take action and seize opportunities. It's like, I see, I see.
I see us doing that.
Yes. Your intuitive and timing abilities complement each other, making you a dynamic duo with a bright future.
You hear that? We're going places.
Okay, come on,
Definitely going places.
Very auspicious, okay? So now we have a square, right? But this is a Venus square. So the thing about Venus squares are never really like bad.
It's not, yeah.
Like, you get some other squares and you're like, run away, right? Pluto. If we had a Pluto square, we wouldn't have a podcast.
We wouldn't be here together. Yeah.
We would not have a podcast together.
We wouldn't be this far in for sure.
It would not have happened. We probably wouldn't be friends if we had a Pluto square in our Synastry. So, there's that. So Venus at 21 degrees Aries, which is me, is squared to 22 degrees of Cancer of Shelby's ascendant. So Venus square the ascendant, right? So what kind of energy are we making with that? So this is going to suggest a potential clash between personal habits and social mannerisms.
Interesting.
So okay, interesting. So the two individuals may find each other's behavior and social sensibilities unappealing.
That's really funny. Also, that's funny because we don't actually, considering how much time we spend together, doing the podcast, we don't spend time together in social situations all that often.
Yeah.
So it's
very true.
Kind of hard to know if that's even true.
Yeah, I think, because, our initial relationship was at work.
Right.
And so then, we became friends and we spent time, hanging out outside of work together.
Gone out to eat or whatever.
Yeah, but not in a long, not a lot of time. Right. And so that would be interesting to see, if we were to spend that kind of time together, to see if that dynamic would come out in some way.
If we traveled together or something.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting. Okay, but at least now we know.
We saw that in the Synastry.
We knew this was coming.
Right.
It makes sense. That's really funny.
So So it says, this misalignment of values and aesthetics can pose challenges in the relationship, as understanding and appreciating may be difficult. So both individuals should be mindful of impulsive emotional behavior, which can worsen the issues. Emotional outbursts should be avoided to prevent further strain on the relationship. But by practicing emotional intelligence and considering the impact of their actions, they can navigate potential conflicts and foster understanding and harmony. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think, we haven't had any emotional outbursts with one another.
So. No.
So it's kind of strange to see that, right? Because it's like, I wonder, again, like I wonder how that would really play out, because
just hard to say. We'll see.
We communicate pretty well, so we don't.
I think so too. And
the emotional outbursts.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe one day we'll go on tour for the podcast or something, and then we'll really see.
Then that might be it, Shelby. That might be the thing. Well, we went on tour together, and that was the end.
And that was no,
it won't be the end.
We'll be communicating on that for sure.
Yes. Okay. That was interesting. Okay, so the last aspect for us is we have our midheavens, which mine is at 7 degrees Aquarius, and Shelby's is at 6 degrees of Aries. They are sextiles. So those sextiles are 60 degrees from one another. So that is, again, that's kind of that harmonious, like easy flowing energy, right? So this means that I love this little description. The celestial dance brings forth an immense potential for mutual success and shared aspirations. So as your midheaven harmonizes with your partner's midheaven, a profound sense of understanding and support is established. Your paths in life converge, allowing you to embark on a journey together towards achieving your individual aspirations. This aspect encourages you both to inspire and motivate one another, helping each other unlock your full potential.
I love that.
I love it, right?
That sounds like podcast success to me.
I'm like, there's a lot of things in our Synastry that give, some success to our podcast, and our friendship in general. But our endeavors together be very successful. So I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm like, look at this Synastry.
This is great. This is also, I'm like, knowing you, which I guess you were really into astrology at this point too, but like when you first asked me to be your co-host, I was like,
yeah,
you didn't run the Synastry first to see if we had any huge, like, Pluto squares or like anything.
Like, no, we're just going for it.
We're going for it, but it works out really well. I don't know. I was honored.
Felt the energy. I felt the energy. Yes.
We knew it was.
And, I wasn't the astrologer I am today. Then,
that's true. So that was
I wouldn't have known.
3, almost 4 years ago at this point. So you've had plenty of time to study since then.
So yeah, we've done a lot. So let's get into some solar returns.
Solar returns, yes. Okay.
So Shelby has had her solar return.
I have.
So let's get into Shelby's solar return. Hers has just activated.
Oh man.
And your solar return, was it the same? Okay, it was actually your birthday. We talked last year. Sometimes it's not your birthday, but yours was actually your birth date. And so my headphones are just really yelling at me.
Oh, so sorry.
But we're not trusting them. We're just going to trust.
We're just going to keep moving forward.
Trust the universe that we'll
get through this. That's right. We'll get through it.
So Shelby, I want to ask you, so you're in here, you're looking at this. I'm going to ask you, what stands out to you first? From the notes, from anything, what like jumps out to you of this solar return information?
So let's see. Well, obviously the first thing that I'm seeing is this Aries rising. Because was it last year that I was Sag rising? And so I was like, oh, like what's going on there?
Right.
And it made sense because of the kind of year that I had. It was, things were, I won't say they were unstable, but they were, I was moving around a lot from place to place. I was, definitely did
Yes.
not have the stability in my life that I had previously. And so this is like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're going in a different direction, new adventures, enthusiasm. I'm like, okay, I'm going
Yes.
to need this excess of energy to get some shit done this year.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I kind of feel like I'm on that trajectory right now. So I'm trying to make some things happen in my life. So some big moves.
I see it. I'm like, I feel that energy very much like right at the beginning of this solar return year. It's like, boom, Aries. Jumping out there. Yes.
Yeah. Big things are happening for me right now. So that's really the first thing. Now I'm just kind of glancing through to see what else is happening in here.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, the 12th house stellium. Like, I know I'm just naming off the first two things that you had noted in here, but I said that right before we got in here. I was like, oh my God, 12th house stellium. That's a big stellium too. Like,
and Shelby has a big 12th house stellium this solar return year.
Yeah.
So
that is,
there's a lot of energy there.
Yeah. Like introspection, internal feelings, empathy, collective vision, but still internalized internal energy. There's okay, what? Sun, Moon, Mercury, North Node, Chiron, Neptune, and Saturn are all in the 12th house.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things happening. It's like, I think of the, 12th house is like there's a lot of work happening behind the scenes, right? There's a lot of things happening that nobody is seeing.
Right.
I'm like, did I just come out of a, well, we know I have a 12th house stellium just natally.
Yes, exactly.
But like, I was trying to remember if I just came out of a 12th house stellium charts, solar return. I feel like I did. And so I'm like, I can relate.
Right.
Like,
right.
A lot of things happening behind the scenes, a lot of time spent with yourself, and a lot of internal work happening. So I see that very much in your space, especially with your sun, your moon, Saturn's there, Chiron's there, and your North Node. So like what you will take from this year is also going to be in the direction of the place that you are going in your life. And so, so like this, I mean, it's, it's one of those, like, it's a growth year, like this is, that's what it's giving to me.
And again, comparatively to, that the heavy Sag energy that was in my solar return chart last year really tracked because obviously I got divorced, but I was also like out and about and doing things and seeing people and like rebuilding this social circle. And now I kind of have all of that established. And like literally the weekend before my birthday, I was like out doing things every single night. And then literally yesterday, I was like, I need to be in the house. Like, I want to, and I've had this energy of just like, I want to get my own shit together and get my space together. And like, I want to be in the house and I want to be alone, like in a way that I have not wanted to up until this point. And so it's like, I can feel myself being drawn towards that internalized energy and like putting time in to focus on myself and my projects and my stuff. In a way that I wasn't last year. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I think, it's very much, it's giving like, you're going to put that time and energy into yourself. And there's some other aspects actually in here that kind of speak to that as well. Of like really focusing on you. And so we have that, the 12th house stellium. And then next to that, we have a first house stellium. So again, a lot of internal energy. So you've got Jupiter, you've got your part of fortune, and you have Uranus. So those are some interesting, kind of those mid outer planets hanging out there. But this is gonna, say, focusing on your individuality, developing your potential, your strengths. So it's a lot of focusing on yourself and your needs. So yeah, I feel like this year is going to be a lot of that kind of energy for you.
Yeah.
And so you'll find yourself in those spaces like, no offense. I just, I'm gonna pass on that, or, just like, I'm gonna do this over here. Just, really doing a lot of more intro work.
Yeah. Intra. Yeah.
So the next thing I saw here was then you have your Mars and your Venus in the 11th house. Now this is where it got a little scandalous. And I was like, no, hold on, what's going on over here?
Okay, let's see.
So, Mars and Venus hanging out in the same house, is already giving some action, right? So Mars in your 11th house is going to give that intense desire for freedom of action and the aggressive goals or aggressive pursuit of goals within the year. And so to accomplish those goals, you have to maybe bend a few rules, break some family traditions. That Aquarius is kind of that 11th house, that Aquarius energy that's like something about that is like breaking the family traditions as well. Like not just unconvention, but like something with the family. Aquarius has a vendetta with families.
Yes.
It's always busting up the family traditions.
Interesting. I wonder what that's going to be.
Right. That's interesting. And so goals may be very self-oriented, self-serving, even selfish. So might just be in that space.
Yeah.
And that is where the energy is right now. So you have that, right? Then you have Venus in the 11th house, which, is more likely to be involved in friendships and associations with a number of people rather than in-depth relationships with only a few individuals. So it's kind of like spreading yourself a lot more thin versus like, keeping it, and pouring deeply into a few. So that relationship style leans more heavily on detached, less intimate forms of relating, right? Because you're spreading yourself more thin.
Right.
And focusing on expanding your circle and creating new interests. So this placement actually affects relationships. So if you are in a relationship, this is where it was like, this is where it gets kind of like, what's going on? So depending on how strong the relationship is, this placement tends towards, again, personal freedom and playing the field.
Ooh.
So literally, I did not put this.
No, this is what the astrology says
for an affair.
The astrology says it.
Like, oh Lord.
Well, I'm glad you warned me. At least I know what's coming.
Keep your eyes open. You start seeing somebody look too attracted to you. Remember, I said this.
I'm like, remember, Christine said it doesn't have to be this way.
It don't have to be like this, but the energy is present, okay? The energy is present.
Sure is. Okay.
You find some temptation creeping up. Like, just remember, I said it.
She said it. I'll let you know. You'll be the first to know.
That's why I was like, I know I'm going to know about it. It's something.
Right. You'll be the first to know.
So there's a little scandal in Shelby's chart. So then we have the next placement that was interesting is we have Pluto in the 10th house. So this just means significant changes and transformation in your career or public life. So we might be making some changes in your career. Okay.
That's all right.
And it's at 1 degree. And so this, may be like the beginnings of this, right? It may be you're thinking about these changes or you're starting the action of these changes or something. It's whatever it is in the beginning process because of that 1 degree of Pluto. And of course, we know Pluto is currently at 1 degree.
Yeah.
So that's that on the placements.
Okay.
So then we got into some aspects that I want to pull out here. Okay, so the first one is you have a Sun conjunct Neptune, as I think I do as well.
Oh, okay.
I feel like my Sun and Neptune is always all up on my Sun, and I need to back up off of it. I know I'm already
just a little
Pisces.
bit.
I'm like, just
please.
Back up.
We don't need to make it more confusing.
Okay, like it's enough. So you two here are in this boat. So the Sun conjunct Neptune in your solar return is going to indicate that the native is growing more sensitive on a number of levels, and this can have both positive and negative ramifications, right? Because it's Neptune. So sensitivity is meant to facilitate spiritual developments, not confusion and escapism.
Okay. That's the part that I have to remember.
That's the part. Right. So facts are not known and truth is not revealed, only alluded to. And uncertainty regarding the present and or the future is common. So just know that.
Okay. Yes.
The uncertainty is, just be prepared.
Right.
So also in this space, you're less concerned with selfish interests. And this leads to better understanding of relationships and how we're all connected.
Okay. So that's a little bit of a far cry from the other like internal work that I'm doing, but that could be a nice balance.
In that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some balance in that. That's going to help balance it out. Oh, okay. Let's take a pause for just a minute.
All right.